We have some breaking news here on Chicago Bears Now. I'm your host, Harrison Graham, filming from my house here on my day off. The Bears have a new special teams coordinator. It's not Rich Bisaccia, rather it is Richard Hightower, who used to be on the Bears coaching staff as the assistant special teams coordinator back in 2016. Now he returns in the special teams coordinator role here in 2022. Welcome into the show. Hit that subscribe button for more Bears news and rumors, and let's get into it. So Hightower has spent the last 5 seasons under Kyle Shanahan with the San Francisco 49ers. Only 41 years old, a young special teams coordinator, and he's a guy, again, that has been in Chicago before, served on this staff in 2016. So the Bears fill their special teams coordinator role. We'll talk about Rich Bisaccia later on in the show, but Hightower is coming to Chicago to replace Chris Tabor, who left for the Carolina Panthers. And let's be honest, those are pretty big shoes to fill, as Tabor had these special teams rolling the past couple of years. But the good news for Hightower is the Bears have good special teams units in place. The last 2 years, Cairo Santos has been a steady kicker, not the strongest leg, but he's been accurate. The punting game's been solid, and the return game has been excellent in recent years. Obviously, we'll see if Jakeem Grant returns or if Daz Newsome takes that role as the lead return man. Khalil Herbert on kickoffs, we'll have to wait and see. But there are pieces in place, but we'll get to see kind of what Hightower's spin on everything is when it comes to 2022 and hopefully beyond, because that means he's doing a good job. Grade the hire for the Chicago Bears, Richard Hightower. We'll talk more about him in just a moment, but give me a letter grade for him. Get that red pen out like you're going back to school. A, B, C, D, or F. Grade the hire of Richard Hightower. If you get hit with this YouTube ad break, take the time to use it. A, B, C, D, or F. Scroll back up. The video will be back and playing. I'm an incomplete grade on Hightower, if I'm being completely honest. Now, I like that he's been with the Bears before. He knows Chicago. That's a good thing. And I do think special teams, a lot of the time, it's like, well, if your kicker sucks, people aren't going to like this special teams coordinator, right? So Cairo Santos hasn't sucked the last 2 years, so that's good. But special teams is about a couple of things. One, effort. And I think that's something Matt Eberflus is going to preach anyway. We've already heard about his hit system and everything like that. You've got to be relentless. You've got to fly to the football, especially on coverage units. That is, rule number 1 with special teams is effort. Number 2, fundamentals. And I watched a little, media brief clip from Hightower before one of their games this year with the 49ers. And he said, look, we got to be fundamentally sound and relentless. I think a lot of it is effort and energy based. And number 3, it's consistency. Make tackles. Don't over pursue. Get to the football and make the play. Special teams is not about flash, especially on coverage units. Sure, you can have a flashy return man like a Jakeem Grant, but for the most part, it's about fundamentals and it's about effort. And that's what the Bears need to continue to do, because that's one thing with the Matt Nagy regime, especially the last couple of years, the special teams were good. They were really good, so hopefully that continues. Now, I will be honest. Rick Gosselin, who ranks the the NFL special teams every year from 1 to 32, last couple of years the 49ers were in the 20s, according to his grading system. Now, it's a bit of an opinion-based system, but they weren't that great. And we got to factor in, why is Kyle Shanahan letting his special teams coordinator go? I don't know. I think those are all legitimate questions. Now, that doesn't mean Hightower's not good. He held this job for 5 years, and the 49ers in that stretch made it to a Super Bowl and made it to a conference championship game. And if you look at the Packers game in the playoffs this year, while the 49ers special teams may not have been great in the regular season, they were tremendous in the playoffs, especially in that Packers game. The 49ers special teams and defense, of course, won that game. Blocked punt, ran it back for a touchdown. Blocked field goal for Mason Crosby in the first half. those are game-changing plays, especially in big games, and hopefully the Bears are going to start playing in some big games in the next couple of years. So I do like that aspect of it. When it came down to it, when the season was on the line for San Francisco, their special teams delivered, and I think Hightower deserves some credit for that. So, certainly some mixed results, as the regular season the past couple of years haven't been great, but again, you get to those big games and your special teams gets basically created 10 of their 13 points because they kept 3 points off the board for Green Bay, and they got 7 of their own. That's big. That's really, really big. And hey, it's, bringing a slice of Robbie Gould home, as we know that Robbie Gould has been the 49ers kicker in recent years, and he's still been fantastic. Subscribe to the channel. More breaking news. Hey, if we're at home or at the offense, doesn't matter. We're going to have you guys covered. I said offense. Office. That's what I meant to say. Subscribe. It's free. We're posting videos every single day. We'll have a mailbag coming out later today still. So another 2-video day for you guys here on Chicago Bears Now. Don't miss any of our coverage here on this channel. All right, so let's talk about Rich Bisaccia now. So Hightower's the special teams coordinator. Obviously, a lot of you guys, including myself, wanted Rich Bisaccia from the Las Vegas Raiders. That is not going to happen, obviously, as Hightower's been hired. There's been a lot of buzz that he might end up in Green Bay. And if you want to talk about bad special teams, the Packers were bad, and I've read that they might pay him top dollar to be their special teams coordinator, whereas the Bears, they have good units in place. Maybe they didn't want to pay top dollar. I'm not sure. Maybe Hightower just emerged as a stronger candidate in their eyes. I don't know. Obviously, I would have liked Bisaccia, but that is going to kind of suck if he ends up in Green Bay. I don't know if it's a huge deal. It is a special teams coordinator position. We'll see what happens there. But that's... It's just, one of those, the damn Packers, right? Can we get the FGBs going? You know what it stands for. F Green Bay. Get it going in the comment section. No one likes the Packers. It's time for the Bears to take the North and never give it back. Shout out Ryan Poles for that quote. Spam FGB in the Packers if you cannot stand Green Bay, especially since they might be getting Rich Bisaccia. Okay, so now most of your coaching staff positions are filled. I wonder if Rod Marinelli is in the mix as the defensive line coach. I hope so. I would like to see that. I think that would be a nice thing in 2 reasons. One, it gives Matt Eberflus really, a mentor, a guy who's done it all before in the building. I like that. And 2, this is one of the best defensive line coaches in the NFL. I mean, Rod Marinelli is tremendous. What he did with Max Crosby and Yannick Ngakoue last year and some other rotational pieces with the Raiders, really impressive. I mean, Crosby became an all-pro this year. Now, that he deserves credit for that as the player, but I think that Marinelli had a lot to do with that. I really do. And him and Eberflus go back to their Dallas days. So I would like to see that happen. We'll see what happens with some of the other positions, assistant O-line and so forth. We saw David Overstreet come on board as the assistant defensive backs coach. So most of the positions are filled. There's a couple still out there. Defensive line is the one that really stands out, and we'll see what happens on that front. So stay tuned and subscribe. You can also give me a follow on social media. I tweeted out this news as soon as it came out, so you could have found it there first before we had this in-depth breakdown of Richard Hightower at HGramNFL on Twitter, at HGramNFL on Instagram. I'll keep you guys up to date over there. We'll do another IG Live in the near future as well. Probably once we cross 2,500 followers. We're at 2,200 something. So help me get there. Give me a follow. Slide in the DMs. I'm ready to rock and roll and answer your questions. Appreciate you guys tuning in here on a Sunday. Remember, we will have a mailbag later on in the day, so stay tuned for that. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And as always, bear down.